Hey there, it's Derek here from Pacific Coast Auto in Japan, and this is a 1996 Toyota Land Cruiser VX four-wheel drive 80 series is what this one's called, and that is a 4.2 liter inline six-cylinder engine, the 1HD FE, and it is a little bit noisy because it is a diesel, but it runs properly good. Have a listen. Oh. Love the sound of the 1HD engine and the way that it flexes the chassis. You step on it and the car goes vroom, vroom. It's all that torque. The engine, this one here, a 24 valve version of the engine. Actually, let me do the rest of the intro before I get nerdy about this. This one here, 214,000 kilometers on it. Overall, pretty good condition, but paint is an issue. Probably the only issue on the car really is the paint, and then a few other little things that come with the age of the car. But the engine starts up fine. The engine has the timing belt changed at 193,000 kilometers in 2019. Coolant looks good. Oil looks good. Where's the oil again? Can't remember where the oil is. There it is. Boop. And let me just tell you something about this. The 24 valve version came in 1995. It's the final version of the 1HD, an engine that has been around for a while and is very good. This one, the 24 valve is a single cam 24 valve using rocker arms on the top. Many engines are like that. And in this case, they don't use glow plugs anymore. This is something that I just learned about. This part here heats the air up instead of a plug right in the cylinder heating the air up. And so the intake air, it gets heated as it goes in. Fewer things to break down, and glow plugs are known to break down, and they're not cheap like a spark plug. They tend to be, $70 per plug times 6 can get quite pricey. So an air heater is called a intake screen heater. Interesting. Okay, and the 24 valve version gets you an extra 5 horsepower, an extra 15 feet-pounds of torque. Okay. Quick look at the car. It comes in this forest green color that was pretty popular at the time that this came out. These darker colors for the Land Cruiser, like a navy, forest green, maroon red, were all very popular at the time. Okay, so 1990, I'll just go over the auction inspection sheet here. And it's a 1996 Land Cruiser VX Limited. That's the top of the line version. Four-wheel drive with sunroof. Yes, sir, it does. And it has these really old antennas that you used to have for watching TV in your car in the early 2000s. No longer can you do that. This is an auction grade 3.5. Interior and exterior are both B. I would say exterior, maybe C, is a little bit better. While the exterior is in excellent condition, it does have faded paint on many of the panels. So it pretty much needs a full repaint. Not much prep needs to be done. Scratches and dents are at a minimum, except for on the bumper corners. But yeah, that faded paint is a bit of an issue. So the sales points here: purchase from user, first time at auction, sunroof, grille guard, and cruise control. The notes here says a bed kit is inside. I'll talk about that in a second. Original Navi, Thames, which is a automatic suspension control that started in the late 80s. Basically, it's like, if the car thinks you're going to hit the brakes at a high speed, it's going to make your shocks in the front stronger so that it doesn't dip down so much. And if you're going around corners a lot, it'll do the same thing left to right. It was advanced in the late 80s, early 90s, and they still use the same technology nowadays, but they don't call it Thames anymore. Four-wheel drive, rear heater, a rear mount spare tire, and then the report here from the auction inspector says the windshield rock chip. Interior scratched and dirty. Dashboard cracked, which is kind of one of the bigger issues on the car. Exterior has various paint fade on it, and wheels scratched. And then here on the diagram, it says A, AU. None of those really show up too much. I'll point them out when I see them. But there's paint fade on the back here, paint fade on over here, and then not mentioned a few other places on the hood and on the fender. But when it says this one here, exterior has various paint fade, it's pretty common for it to have some paint fade that's not deliberately laid out like it is on here. Okay, let's take you for a walk around so you can see it. Land Cruiser 80 series is quite classic nowadays, and every Land Cruiser, as it gets older, it gains in value. Land Cruiser 40s are probably 10 times more expensive now than they cost when they were brand new. And then the next generation after that, well, the 50 doesn't really count so much because nobody really bought them. But the 60 series, more expensive now by about 3 times more. The 80 series is selling for about the price that they cost when they were new. And so there's reason to believe that they're going to continue to get more expensive as time goes on, as fewer of them are seen on the road. And these diesel ones are really great, especially when exporting over to the USA, because as far as I know, there were no diesel 80 series in the States. And as far as I know too, the 60 series, I think the States got the diesel, or so maybe didn't get the diesel, I'm not sure, but Canada did. So it's kind of a weird little thing. At least that's what I've heard. You always have to be very careful about what you hear on the internet when it comes to cars, because you can repeat some misinformation. And I'm sure at some point I've been privy to that. Okay, so some details here on the front. This bush bar is a dealer option. It's quite a stout looking unit. I suspect from the factory it would have come with some fog lights as well, because there are provisions for it here. And it was really common during the 80s and 90s to have factory bush bars with fog lights in them that you could spec on the car. Probably several hundred to a little bit over $1,000 to spec it with that. It looks great. It's cool. I like it. Headlights here have integrated fog lights. I think the American ones were not allowed to have the fog light integrated with the headlight lens, and so it had to be a split light. Or just no fog light at all in there. You can see the yellow lens there from the fog light. Okay, a little bit of peeling on the grille. If you look in like these sections here, the paint is peeling up a little bit. And this chrome looking strip, like basically just electroplated plastic, has a bit of fade in it. It's starting to lose its like direct shine. There's the fade on the roof, not on the roof, on the hood. It's basically in that area. And the cowl here looks pretty good. The windshield wipers have a bit of rust on them. That goes for both of them. The roof, the real roof, actually looks pretty good. Okay, and a fender mirror. I think only on the Japanese models, or at least not on the North American ones. But Japan loves their hood mirrors, or fender mirror in this case. Okay, now coming down here, the over fender here has some paint fade, and there's peeling on the top of the over fender here. The gasket on 3 of these has crumbled away, if you take a look. It's gone here, the back one, the one over there. This one over here, it's actually okay. Both doors are gorgeous, no paint fade, and no scratches or dents really to talk of. There is some peeling on this section up here and up here. And let me retract that statement. There are some scratches on the doors. There's inside the door handle has some minor ones in there. And then some medium ones. There's one here underneath my thumb. And here. Okay. Gasket parts cracked and gone, and some paint transfer. You'll be able to polish that off. It's white paint from whatever they hit. You will still see some of the scuff here on the paint because it will have damaged the paint a bit, but it's definitely not going to look as bad as it looks right there. Okay, the back windows have been tinted. It's a factory tint, but it's fairly dark. But this tint has to go because a lot of them have started to break down. Like, see that? That's supposed to be clear, right? And when you're inside the car and you're looking out, you can't see so much as a result. This window, the one on the other side, the back one, all have that. So time for that tint to be refreshed or just to go. Scuff on the back bumper. Like I said, the back bumpers are really the only places that have big scratches. Okay, and then we have some missing paint here. Like peeling paint. And up here, the same thing on the top. This was mentioned on the auction inspection sheet. Okay. Rear mount spare tire looks like the original one. Let's have a look. 1996. So yeah, the original tire. It's kind of interesting. You can see what the tread pattern looked like from the factory in 1996. And then some pretty bad corrosion on this wheel. And then less corrosion on the other wheels, but still a decent amount, enough to make you want to get rid of them. By the way, these are 2021 tires with about 80 to 90% of their tread on them. And they're all-terrain tire. The BF Goodrich All-Terrain TA, a really good tire, a compromise of off-road ability, and road manners. I'll come to the inside of the trunk in a second. Just want to show you the VX Limited badges and the 24 valve badge on the back. It also has this, which I haven't seen this before. It's like this plate attachment that sticks the plate out more. I'm not sure why you would ever want it, and it would have been an option, because usually this is inset more. Or maybe I'm just not remembering things. Maybe it's that the plate goes there and the one that doesn't have the rear mount tire, and this is a kit that allows it to come out. It's funny, I've seen so many of these. There's a Prado right there. It's a little bit different though. Yeah, sometimes something's like, is that normal? Yeah. Okay, so some paint fade here and along the edge here. And again, this piece of trim, it's coming up. It needs to be replaced. The nice thing about Land Cruisers is there's always going to be parts available for them, basically worldwide. Land Cruisers are very popular and never die. And as a result, people want to keep them looking good. And so there's going to be an aftermarket for them. Paint fade here. The underside is looking good with just a little bit of surface rust. I'm going to show this to you. We don't often show the underside in this video that goes on YouTube, but we always take extra pictures of the underside of every car that we export. So if you look up in here, there's a little bit of surface stuff, but generally speaking, this is very clean and nice. And compare this to most of the Land Cruisers in North America, and it's going to look way better. A little bit of an interesting point here. You'll notice that the back pumpkin is off to the side. That's done on purpose, actually, for the Land Cruisers. They do that. The reason why is because if you want to roll over a big rock, and your front one is off to the side as well, and this one's off to the side, you can kind of target the rock being in this area to avoid it. Most North American trucks, what they do is they'll have the front one off to the side, which is just how it happens with transfer cases, because the drive shaft comes back to the transfer case, and then the drive shaft from that goes up to the front, and then it's off to the side. It's just natural for that to happen. But the one in the back is often in the center, just because that's how they're usually done. Land Cruiser, I think, made that decision specifically to allow you a little bit more space. Okay, interior, let's go to the back. It has a sleeping platform, and this is actually a taxi Dodge. It's they call it a camping kit. Basically, you register your Land Cruiser as a camper, so you don't have to pay outrageous registration fees, which are insane here in Japan. It's like, without insurance, a Land Cruiser is probably somewhere in the range of $2,000 to $2,500 per year in just registration costs. And road tax is integrated into gasoline just like it is in the US. So imagine every year that you drive a Land Cruiser, you have to pay an extra $2,500 compared to what you pay in North America. So people are looking for a way to get cheaper taxes, and one way that they do that, and you can't do it anymore, but you used to be able to, is put a bed in the back. You need a bed, cabinets, stove. Here's your stove. And you need a sink, but I think that somebody's probably taken the sink out. These don't count as a sink. But by the look of it, you've got like other platforms in here. You fold those ones flat, and then you put the platforms on top, and you can sleep on it. And there's your camper. And that will probably save you about $1,000 per month in taxes. So it is cool. Maybe there's a sink in here if you lift these up. No, but there is a CD changer up there. Oh, and the cover here. I was wondering where that went. Oh, those are broken. Okay. Well, I'll just leave this in here. But it's broken. It's supposed to go up there for the speaker in the back. And it's the VX that has those. Only the diesel here in Japan got those speakers, because the diesel was the top of the line. Some peeling in the tint there. And this carrier is all in good condition. Maybe a little bit faded, but no rust or anything. Into the back seats now. And the interior is quite nice. No bad smell of cigarettes or anything. So it's looking pretty good. Speakers in the door here. Plenty of room for your legs, for kids or adults, no problem. And the seats are actually pretty comfortable, all things considered. So 3 seats here, double armrests, so nobody's fighting about whose is whose. Looks like the elastic in here has gone a little bit loose. And then, yeah, really lots of room and stuff. Headline is pretty clean because I don't think it's been smoked in. Open the front here. The door card, very good. A little bit of discoloration in this. It's originally the same color, but because they're made out of 2 different types of plastic, they discolor. Sort of like an old Super Nintendo or old like Commodore 64. I've been saying that for years about like as a reference, but I wonder if people are losing that reference. I wonder if people watching this video actually recognize what happens to the old plastic from the 70s and 80s and some of the 90s. So seat here is good with just a little bit of pilling in this section here and this section here, and then a bit of loose fabric right here. Not too bad. Okay, steering wheel has a cover on it, and when peeling the cover back, you can see some wear in this section here, like sun damage. Not terrible, not the best either. It's a leather steering wheel. You can absolutely handle a repair on it because it is made out of leather. Okay, this one does not have the factory optional front and rear locking diffs. This is where it usually goes. It does have the center locking diff, but that's on everything. So it is 4-wheel drive, locked front to rear, 50-50. And I actually don't know. I believe it's just open front and rear. If you don't have the lockers, you basically have a 2-wheel drive because you have an open differential front and rear. Okay, center differential. Look at this. You've got 4 places for coins. Kind of wild, right? And then the little clip on this is busted. You have a Dream Magic Sexy Style Butterfly Air Freshener. Cool. And some Sony manual for something. Okay, high gear ratio and low gear ratio for 4x4ing if you need it. Plenty of wear on the top of this, but again, it's made out of leather. You can restore that. And then all of this would have been so high tech back in the day. Tape deck. Actually, in 1996, a tape deck was kind of older technology, but it does have the CD changer. Has the little controller there for it. And look at this. Oh, I gotta have the key in for that. It has the original Navi system from 96. A 96 Navi. There were very few vehicles that had Navi at that time. And the way it comes out like that, and the resolution on the screen, this thing is fantastic. Look how slowly it's loading. It doesn't have the map there yet. So it's a shame that's not going to work outside of Japan, but you could plug it into some other interface and then display whatever you want on there. So cool. Okay, cup holder in here. Air freshener there. The Navi receiver there. And that's the original one. And then ladies cup. What is that? JLPGA. So that's golf, right? Japan Ladies PGA. Step Up Tour. And then it has what looks like a bear on there. And then I can't read this. I can read that one's mountain and that one's like new. Okay. So the gauge set, all pretty normal. You can see the 215, 004 kilometers at the time. 2 cracks in the dashboard. One right there and one right there. While you're driving, it is visible. Okay. Ashtray. No signs of any ash in there. Cigarette lighter never been used. So it's nice to see. And a grip so that your passenger doesn't fall out of the vehicle when you're going off-roading. Okay, headliner there, and that's pretty much it. This Land Cruiser has been shot. It's time to send it off. Send it off to Los Angeles. All right, I hope you enjoyed this review. I hope you saw that and thought to yourself, I want to get a Land Cruiser. From Derek and Mike and Grant and Max and Isaiah and Micah and Kejiro and Ayako and Sayo. That's all of us. Okay, hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, and have a nice day.